knowing what to expect, but to actually have it happen while you're playing and watching it all unfold in front of you is a totally different fucking story. Today you can watch all the video of those performances you want, and it's not even a tenth of what was actually happening if you were there. This story is legendary in San Diego. It was a place called the Spirit Club, and the floor was set up with tables and chairs in a kind of sit-down-and-watch-a-show formation. Normally, what I would do with the club owners or the promoters in charge of the show was to go to them behind Gigi's back before the show. I said to the Spirit Club owners, "This is what could happen. You should really put away these tables and chairs. Also, you should really serve alcohol in plastic cups tonight." The owner just looked at me and laughed. He said, No, it's fine. I've had Black Flag and such here before." He kept naming bands while shrugging off my warning. I said, "Well, that's your decision, but you'd be wise to move all your tables and chairs." He didn't heed my warning. A couple hours later, we got on stage, start to play, and before long, the entire place looked like the fight scene of some old Western movie. Tables and chairs were flying all over the place. I think this show is the most scared I've ever been on stage. Bottles and chairs were flying at the stage, breaking all around my head. If someone on that stage said, "I wasn't scared," man, you weren't fucking alive and breathing. It was a goddamn war zone. Gigi was hanging off one of the water pipes, and he ended up breaking it. There was water, beer, shit, and blood all over the place. We actually ended up getting through most of the set. It was the craziest show I was ever a part of. If you talk about Gigi in San Diego, someone will say, "You remember the Spirit Club from '91? We would always go to the shows early, and people loved hanging out with us until Gigi got drunk. Once Gigi got on stage, it went from a love to hate relationship real fast. People that were loving us and buying us drinks before the show were the people throwing shit at our vans, breaking windows and slashing our tires. Gigi's protection from the crowd was covering himself with his own feces. He figured that nobody would touch him when he was covered in shit, and he was right. When he was covered in shit and throwing it into the crowd, it was kind of like his armor. Gigi's pregame ritual was just getting as drunk as possible. His attitude and craziness depended on how long we had to wait before a show and how much he was able to drink during that time. We had a show in Joplin, Missouri in 1993, which was our last tour with Gigi. It was in the middle of nowhere. We got to the show really early, probably earlier than we should have. There were too many bands on the bill, and back then we never traveled with any equipment. We realized after the first tour that traveling with equipment was the worst thing we could do, because we'd always have to flee the club with amps, drums, and guitars on our backs. People would already have smashed our shit anyway during the show. After that first tour, it was always prearranged that one band on the bill would have to supply us with equipment, and we still do that to this day. So, we're backstage in Joplin, and Gigi was getting really antsy. When Gigi wanted to do something, you had better be ready to go, or he was going to leave you behind. Or he might do something far worse. The band whose equipment we were set to use was on stage playing. We had already been paid, as I made it a point to always try and get paid before we played. All the shit that Gigi would break during the show would otherwise be deducted from our pay. As we were waiting forever backstage, Gigi was pacing while getting more anxious and pissed off. He was like a caged animal that was drinking and getting fucked up. I could see that he was ready to explode. Suddenly, Gigi runs out of the dressing room, jumps on stage, and tackles the lead singer. He threw the guy to the ground, knocked over all the equipment, and barked, "You guys are fucking done." Yep, they were done. The whole fucking show was done, and we didn't even get to play. At this point, it started to become a mob scene. We had already gotten paid, and we weren't giving our fucking money back. We told our driver to get the van, and we planned to get out as discreetly as possible, as the band Gigi attacked obviously wasn't going to let us use their equipment anymore. We all piled into the van, and the next thing we know, there were 4 or 5 vehicles following us down the highway. We were driving and saying, "Fuck, man, there's a goddamn mob after us." Finally, after miles of being tailed, we said, "Fuck these assholes. Let's pull over and see what they fucking do."